Hanggang 50 years lang ang condo ownership. Riskier bumili ng condo near the fault line. Nagde-depreciate ang value ng condo. These are just some of the bold, sweeping statements we commonly hear about condos that often discourage first-time buyers and investors. Are these myths or facts? Let's find out. I'm Edric Maguan, and this is The Real Deal. Let's face it, when we are beginners and we don't have a lot of money to start with, we probably find it impossible to afford land in very well-developed areas such as Metro Manila. Pero di rin naman tayo familiar masyado sa mga lupa in the outskirts. So naturally, we turn to buying a condo as a viable investment or home option. But then, marami tayong narinig na opinions and negative comments, maybe from your friends and relatives, about buying or investing in condos. But I tell you, many of these concerns are just myths or misconceptions. What are they? Let's break them down and debunk them one by one so you can make a well-informed decision. Myth number 1. Mas risky ang properties near the fault line. The threat of earthquakes is definitely scary for everyone. In Metro Manila, many areas are very near the West Valley fault line. It is something that each and every person considers before investing in a property. Pero hindi totoo ang blanket statement na mas risky ang property pag malapit sa fault line. So before you immediately rule out condos near fault lines, you should first look into the government safety rules and regulations on building condos. One of the most important things to consider is how the structure is built. The Philippines has had a national structural code in place for a very long time, and this is constantly updated to ensure the highest level of safety. For one, the latest edition ensures that buildings, such as high-rise condominiums, can withstand earthquakes as high as magnitude 8, higher than the strongest earthquake ever felt in the Philippines. There are also other government agencies that have put rules in place to ensure safety of structures, such as PHIVOLS, or the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology. They have a strict 10-meter wide no-build zone to avoid any chance of ground fissures affecting the building. In addition, as well documented and researched by the United States Geological Survey Bureau, large structures or high-rise buildings are less affected by short and frequent waves, which happen for earthquakes originating from nearby fault lines. This means that tall structures such as high-rise condos are shaken less in these instances. This is contrary to popular belief. Because of the fault line myth, many close themselves off from investing in some of the best developments in Metro Manila. But in reality, as long as you choose a developer that you can trust to construct the building properly, you can be sure that it will last for decades to come. Myth number 2. Condos depreciate or bumababa ang value, especially pag luma na. We all know that any structure experiences a natural wear and tear or physical depreciation. Pero di ibig sabihin nito, bumababa ang value ng condo over the years. There are many factors that affect the value of the condo development. Strong fundamentals, which include infrastructure, office, and commercial developments around your condo, will help increase the value of the property. Just look at the earliest condo developments in BGC. Some are already there for almost 2 decades and have tripled in value since they first started selling the condo units, and will continue to do so for decades to come. Kaya sa totoo lang, it is very important to invest in condos in locations with strong fundamentals, as well as in developments built by trusted developers and maintained by good property management. If you want to know which properties have high growth potential, schedule a free consultation with me or message me via the link in the description. Myth number 3. Your condo ownership is up to 50 years only. There is a misconception that a condo only lasts for 50 years and is then demolished, leaving you with nothing. This is simply not true. The 50-year myth originated because all condo developments are under a condo corporation, and corporations used to have only a 50-year life. Today, corporations have a perpetual life, but even back then, the 50-year life can be extended by simply renewing the corporation. It doesn't automatically mean that properties that are 50 years old are torn down. Even so, we may have heard that very old buildings are torn down. In this case, are the owners left with nothing? The answer, of course, is no. Remember that condo developments are under a corporation. Usually, very old condo developments are put on sale and a new developer comes in to redevelop the land. In turn, unit owners will all get a share of the sale of the property, as the condo corporation is dissolved. And since this happens at least several decades down the road, and we all know that real estate prices tend to increase over the decades, each unit owner will most likely get a sizable return, way bigger than their initial investment. Before we move on to the next myth, if you find this content helpful, hit the like button. Myth number 4. Damning hidden charges when buying a condo. I've heard some who say they don't like to invest in condos as there are a lot of quote-unquote hidden charges, both in the pre-selling stage and even after turnover. Sa totoo lang, there should be no such thing as hidden charges. In the pre-selling stage, I've heard stories of some people not aware of closing fees when they invest in a condo and are suddenly shocked when they have to pay this fee upon turnover. This is not a small amount as it usually amounts to several 100,000 pesos. Remember, most if not all pre-selling properties have closing fees, usually paid upon turnover. So be sure to cover this before you reserve a property. The rates may vary per developer or per project. Your broker or agent should disclose this information at the onset. On the other hand, after turnover, many complain about unexpected condo dues, insurance payments, and share of real property tax payments for common areas. Marami nagsasabi na hidden charges ito na unique to condos. But in reality, whether it's a condo or a house, there will be some cost of maintenance. For condos, the maintenance cost is easier to anticipate month to month. The cost of maintenance of the common areas are usually limited to condo dues, while the maintenance costs of your specific unit are usually limited to minor repairs. When you have a good property management office for your condominium, this will be well worth the price. Sa totoo lang, these condo dues are maintenance costs for the property to ensure a pleasant living experience for residents and ensure that the building is well maintained throughout the decades. For houses, while they may not have any monthly dues, if you fail to anticipate maintenance costs, you could be surprised with big-ticket costly repairs, such as replacing a roof or repairing entire pipelines. So before you buy a property, especially if you are a first-time investor, you must make it a point to know what these charges and costs could be. Information on costs related to condos can easily be obtained. Pwede mo rin tanungin ang broker or agent mo. Myth number 5. There's an oversupply. Bubble na yan. Many think that our real estate market is in a bubble that is about to burst. Pero sa totoo lang, we have had a housing backlog for many decades and it has been growing. In fact, early last decade, in 2012, it was estimated that we would have a backlog of 6.5 million housing units by 2030. But due to the effects of the current situation, as developers have had delays in construction and held back many project launches, we're 9 years early in the backlog. Mid last year, the Philippine Star reported that we have already hit the 6.5 million backlog. Wala tayong oversupply of housing units. We are and always have been playing catch-up. And as land and houses continue to become more expensive, especially in and around major business districts, many will turn to condos as a viable dwelling. The housing backlog and predictions on the real estate market is something I talked about in another video. Check it out! Myth number 6. Hindi yan real estate kasi wala kang lupa. We've heard it all before, especially from our older relatives who grew up during a time na hindi pa uso ang condos. Condos in the Philippines, even though the first one was constructed around 1970, are relatively new in the broad market sense. It is no longer just there because it is a relatively cheaper option compared to land. Many condos are there to give people a unique living experience, a sense of community, and an incredible level of convenience, especially when they have a very unique selling proposition. This is why condos have been rapidly growing in value over the past decade, and some provide some of the highest rental yields. At the end of the day, condos are government-recognized properties where people live and enjoy life. And yes, there is a market, a big and growing one. As a wise investor, you must be able to distinguish what is a myth and what is a fact, because it could spell the difference between losing an opportunity and gaining millions through real estate investing. Thank you for watching. If you want to inquire about the pre-selling developments that I offer, you may get sample computations or sign up for a free consultation by visiting my website or by messaging me on my social media. I'm an accredited broker of the country's most trusted developers. And if you want to learn more about real estate investing, please subscribe to my channel and check out my other video. Let's get rich and financially free, one property at a time.